Okay, we're recording. We're at the Wildwood Cemetery in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. This is July 3rd, 2007. We're up here with Dad Hoppert, who's standing right next to the family monument, around which there are several grave sites, and we're going to go through those in time. So hopefully Dad can be heard on this microphone, and we're going to hand things over to him.
Well, this first grave is that of Christian Hoppert. That was my grandfather. That's Grandpa Christian, and he was a shoemaker, and he had a shoemaking business. And when he sold that in 1907, he built the big family residence on the farm, which is now 2830 Georgia Avenue. But after he had the house built, he also got into the dairy business and had a confined herd of Guernsey cattle, and there was a cow barn that was built and a horse barn, and of course there were chicken coops and machine sheds and so forth. But Grandpa Christian died in 1920, just 3 months after my mother Hattie Hoppert died in February. This next grave is Grandma Sophie. That was Christian's wife, and she was a small person, and she was very nice. We all loved her. And she died in the summertime, and I remember it was on a Saturday afternoon, and I and some of my friends were skating on the Sheboygan River, and we came home and about 4 o'clock and learned that the coroner had been there and that she had died of a heart attack while she was taking a nap that day. I probably shouldn't say this, but I have some memories there. I felt especially bad that she was gone after I knew that, because that afternoon we had been on the river and I had used some pretty bad language, and I felt especially guilty after I found out that Grandma had died.
Well, Dad, let's talk a little bit about Christian and Sophie again. Now, Christian had come over from Germany.
Yes.
That was about 1881.
I think that's right.
And so at that time he was, well, let's see, he would have been not 30. 37.
1958 to
yeah.
81. He was a young man.
And initially worked as a shoemaker. Now he came over, how many brothers did he come over with? He came over with his mother.
I don't remember.
Okay. And then Sophie had come over.
Oh, she was born in Sheboygan.
Okay, born in Sheboygan.
Her parents came over from Germany.
All right.
And their name was Kaufman.
All right. Now, we'll just travel over to this next one.
Yeah, that's Uncle Ernest. That was my father's brother. And my father was older than Ernest, but Ernest was just a year or two behind him. And he graduated from the University of Wisconsin, and he was a professor of horticulture at the University of Nebraska. He is Jonathan's sponsor. And they came to Albertville, Minnesota, when Jonathan was baptized. And now this particular spot had been reserved mostly by Aunt Gusty, because she said that Aunt Gussie said that she wanted to be buried next to her mother, Sophie. But Aunt Clara was quite a outspoken person, and she insisted that Ernest should be buried next to his mother. So she won out, and Ernest was brought up from Lincoln, Nebraska to Sheboygan to be buried, and Aunt Gussie was not happy about that. Now, she's buried on another lot back here, on the back part of this property.
Well, why don't we go back there and look at the gravestones that are on that side?
Okay.
Since you already mentioned Aunt Gussie, let's start with her.
Well, since the front of his lot had been fully occupied, Aunt Gussie was unhappy for a long time, and then this section, which was not part of the original Hoppert lot, became available. The people who owned it wanted to sell it, so Aunt Gussie and Uncle Ben purchased these two spaces for themselves to be buried in. So Aunt Gussie is on the Hoppert lot, but unfortunately this became available. And she never married. She was a maiden aunt, and her name is Augusta, but we all called her Aunt Gussie.
And she took care of the estate house.
Well, then after Grandma Sophie died, then the house went to Aunt Gussie, so she owned it until she died.
And that was in 1970.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and next to her is her brother.
Next to her is Uncle Ben, who was the youngest child in the family. And he never married, and he was a graduate of the business school at Madison, the university, and he was involved in several companies.
And then I remember when I was growing up, Ben always worked kind of helped out Grandpa with the farm. When did he?
Yes, that's right.
When did he come back to the farm to work?
Oh, I'd say like probably around 1930.
Okay. Okay. Moving north. Now this is an old one.
I'm not sure what his relationship is.
Uncle Heinrich, it says died 1881.
Yeah.
Would have to look in the book. Might he have been one of Christian's brothers?
Yes. And then this is Katarina, which I think was Grandpa Hoppert's mother, but I'm not sure.
Well, that's something we could look up too.
We'll look it up.
1818 to 1907. So if that is Grandpa Hoppert's mother, then she emigrated from Germany also.
Right. And this is the grave of Uncle Arno, who graduated from. He was a valedictorian of his high school class, and he graduated from the University of Wisconsin Business School, and he was in the United States Navy, and that's why you see the flag here.
Ah, I see.
And he and Uncle Carl, another brother, were in the Navy, and Uncle Carl is buried in Milwaukee.